Oh, how we exist in our cloistered shelter of false pretensions. Those pretensions shelters have procreated a fallacy of stillbirths. We hold those creations as viable, but their shelf life has never been the guarantee of our taken for granted expectations. For this reason, I've written for sale at $36 at Amazon eBooks, The Minimalist Discourses of Nihilism.
It exists archived in the esoteric section of our mind's attic. It's where those intriguing bits and morsels of visions, thoughts, and impressions are stored for our later conscious review. After our subconscious has done its magic collation and categorization of those bits and morsels from the ongoing experience we've encountered. Those experiences have found extra pieces that fit quite nicely into the gaps of explanation that replace ignorance or confusion that existed before. For a random or incidental review of those phenomena, you find some credible patterns of guidance it may employ. If iconoclastic and esoterically specific to our needs, they remain the private musings that over time aggregate to a paradigm ethos. Be entirely congruent or compatible with the contemporary social or cultural precepts of perceptions and the resulting behavior. An inherent friction of contentious thinking is generated from the incongruities and incompatibilities. A de facto competition between the conventional, temporally mundane thoughts and ethos and what has privately developed with one's personal esoteric perceptions. Ponderance of experiences over decades indicate that one's esoteric agenda has a compelling point that's enough to reorientate one's perspective with the conventional paradigms. One's perspective gains a compelling importance. That importance takes the form of a voluntary obligation of trust. With the gaining credibility, one labels the objects of trust as their muse. The connections that made the aggregate of credibility for one's esoteric paradigm file is the dimensions of that dynamic source that has been supplying the components of that aggregate in the ways that made it compelling to one. The muse is a presence whose advent with enlightenment gives a rationale for a hierarchy of order between it and conventional mundanity. Conventional mundanity can be suspended or nullified by visitations of this muse.